Jim Jordan interrogates the IRS Affordable Care Act head. Now, this is Sarah Hall Ingram. She is, remember, and most people haven't connected these dots yet, the IRS is in charge of your health care. And here's the head of it yesterday in front of Congress.
This is about 6033 rules in the Internal Revenue Code and how they work.
Used to define who qualifies and who doesn't, who would be exempt and who wouldn't be. And the end result was, from your discussions and the way the ruling was changed, most of these lawsuits were dismissed. Lawsuits like Colorado Christian University versus Sebelius, Priests for Life versus Sebelius, Roman Catholic Archbishop of Washington versus Sebelius, Wheaton College versus Sebelius, Hobby Lobby. Some of these things, most of these cases have been dismissed because of the change in the definition that was being discussed in these emails. Correct?
All I know to respond to you, Mr. Congressman, is that I was answering questions about how current tax definitions worked under 6033. I was not involved in litigation or regulation decisions.
You were answering the White House wanted to know if they could change the definition. You were giving them information about the definition, and the end result was most of these suits were dismissed. That's what happened.
I can't speak to that, so I can only explain it.
You don't have to speak to it. It's the fact, and it was part of that was determined by the back and forth between the White House and you. And our concern, of course, is in that correspondence that resulted in most of these cases being dismissed, you shared, at least by someone's definition at the IRS, you shared personal taxpayer information with the White House. And now under the Affordable Care Act, Americans have to give personal information to the IRS, to the same lady, to the same organization that potentially, at least by someone's definition, shared all kinds of personal information with the White House political people. At a time, this took place again at a time when religious institutions were suing the government because the Affordable Care Act infringed on their religious liberty rights. That's what people are nervous about. That scares a lot of people. You guys working back and forth, personal information going in emails. The end result is lawsuits get dismissed, religious institutions don't get their day in court, and now all of America has to send the same kind of personal information to you and the IRS in order to get health care.
May I have a minute to respond,
Sure.
sir? First, I will let the committee and the specialists in 6103 law provide the explanation as to why it would not have been 6103 problem for me to have this email, but a 6103 issue vis-a-vis the committee, and I will let you and they work that out.
Who says vis-a-vis? Who uses that expression?
People who understand
Vis-a-vis.
6103. I'm going to let the people who understand 6103
Vis-a-vis.
vis-a-vis
6103
talk
people.
about it.
Wait, just stop right there a second. So it was okay. That's amazing. That is true. It's okay for the White House to get the unredacted version, political people at the White House, from the same entity that targeted groups who came into existence because they opposed the Affordable Care Act, but Congress can't get it. That's just what that is unbelievable. You just told us it's okay. You said you didn't do anything wrong. It's okay for the White House to get this information, but we on the oversight, government oversight committee can't get the same information.
I cannot answer what is under those blocks, so I cannot answer whether the information originated with the White House or not, and
This
I
is
refer
phenomenal.
you
wrote it. You don't know what's underneath those blocks, but it was okay for the White House to get it, but it's not okay for us to get it. And Americans are supposed to rest assured the IRS will treat their personal information when they are forced by the law to sign up for the Affordable Care Act. Americans are supposed to rest assured you guys will treat that in a confidential fashion. Unbelievable.
Well, it truly is.
So you know
she can't speak to what's been redacted, even though she wrote it.
What he's saying is they violated the law. The White House said, how can we change this law? How can we change 6103? How can we change this so we can get rid of these lawsuits from like people like Hobby Lobby who say, we're not going to do this? How do we get them? How do we get them off our back? Can we change this? So she reaches out and she writes these emails back and forth to the political operatives at the White House. Includes personal, confidential taxpayer information in those, which is against the law. She advises them. She says, well, this is what the law says, and this is what you'd have to do. So they change the law. The White House does. And then when Congress says, excuse me, were you doing this? The White House says, What are you talking about? I don't even know what you mean. What? Please produce the emails between you two. Okay, but they're going to have to be redacted because there's some sensitive information in there. And so they take the black Sharpie. I swear to you, there's no more Sharpies left you can get in any color except black in Washington, D.C. No black Sharpies are available in any store in Washington, D.C. because they're so transparent. They're redacting everything in all of the documents. And so the Congress gets the document and says, wait a minute. I see here that like half of this has been redacted. We're the oversight committee. We are your boss. Yes, but you'll have to talk to the White House because they redacted these things. It's confidential. No. I don't think you understand. We are your boss. We're your boss. I can't comment on what was said on that. The White House.
I don't know.
I don't know. Wait a minute.
You wrote it.
You wrote it. You don't know what's underneath what the political operatives at the White House have just blacked out in black ink? You don't know what's underneath those blocks. I can't speak to that. You'll have to ask the White House. This is the most transparent. And, gang, it's not about money. It's not about the president's color. It's not about the party. It's about control. These people will have your personal information. They have your personal health information. Are you telling me it only gets worse from here? Things decay. All life decays. So if this is the standard, when George Washington said, when they were trying to go back and forth, and they're like, we got to have some pork to be able to get this Constitution, he said, let us raise a standard that the wise and honest can repair. The event is in the hand of God. So he was saying, do the right thing. Raise the highest standard because it's going to decay. But the wise and the honest, someday down the future, when it has decayed, they will see what it was supposed to be, and they'll repair it. This is their standard. This is where we're starting. We're starting with, go ahead. Give me some personal tax information. Well, I just need to know, who are we dealing with? What do they have? What skeletons do they have in the closet? And now the IRS doesn't just have your personal financial information. They oversee your entire life now. And if that's not enough, throw in the NSA. They can track you, listen to you, read everything you write, know every purchase you made. Are you out of your mind? America, I ask you sincerely, are you out of your mind? This is not, for the love of Pete, read any fiction book from the 1950s. We're creating what we were always told would happen, and everybody said, oh, that's crazy. 1984, Brave New World, Fahrenheit 451, Terminator. They're actually talking now about creating drones that can decide to kill or not kill themselves. I don't think that's a good idea. I saw the Terminator movie. I know it's not real, but I don't think that's a good idea. The same time we are designing drones and debating whether we should have drones, forget about a jury, forget about the president, that the drone, the machine, will decide whether it should kill or not. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. And at the same time we're doing that, we're creating artificial intelligence that we are told, and I believe, and I know, that in 20 years we'll say, I am human. What is the difference between you and me? The soul. The soul doesn't exist. Okay. Have you lost your mind? I don't know how Jim Jordan sat there with those people, and I don't know what. I don't even know what the people in the media are even doing anymore. When you are stomping on the rights of people who are 91 years old to go visit a memorial, at the same time, a block away, you are building a giant stage so the president can have his union buddies have a giant immigration rally. And at the same time, they're saying that we're going to negotiate, we're going to get all these things done. They're negotiating. The GOP is negotiating behind your back to push through immigration reform. Holy cow. I didn't think I recognized my country a month ago. I don't even recognize the country that we were a month ago to the country we are today.